Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the swapper. Increasingly, I have run into puzzles that I just can't figure out, so I'm hoping that there's either a strategy or an ability that gets unlocked as we move forward. There are now three places where I should have probably been able to get an encryption orb or trigon orb. It's ridiculous that they call it two different things in the first place. We did just turn on like the gravity plating, and that opened up a area over here, so seems like we are going back this direction at some point, but it makes a lot of sense to simply see what's forward. The voice that's talking to us
You're
now.
here. Good. This is the first watcher we ever discovered. The head. It sorts, filters, and distributes the thoughts of every watcher in broadcast range. It also killed the crew. They're like every other living being in that respect. You corner them, and the defense mechanisms kick in. Very effective. Something in the air. We probably have a few hours to live. Unfortunately, these things are practically indestructible. There's no time to jettison them all and nowhere to run. You're going to have to engage it with a swapper device and take control. Once the Watcher mind is in your body, it'll be harmless. Once you're in there, just try to keep it together until I can come and pull you out. I'd wish you luck, but honestly, it should be straightforward enough.
So this sounds to me like...
Get away from that thing. That isn't going to work.
Interesting. So the mind...
There's only one way to do this, and it's mine.
So something just swapped into the mind of that character, that female voice. Which I'm still not sure that our character actually isn't the same female voice and we're just a clone of that. So we had seen in the logs that they had tried to swap different personalities, and it's possible that this Petrovic and Moss are the people that we've seen so far, even if we have seen two different people. But yeah, they're basically saying that swapping into the mind of somebody else's body instead of a clone body is dangerous and causes memory loss, at the very least. It's weird that the head watcher is all carved like a face, because that's really what I wasn't expecting, since all the other rocks have been like that, and we can't go further in this way. If anything, it felt like the game was just going to end there. Instead, we're at a halfway point, which is fine. We are noticeably seeing more colorful wiring now in the background, but still a lot of this game, or most of this game, is dark. So we got an interesting little cutscene there, and then it seems like we are probably just back to wandering around. There's still a lot of room for a lot more puzzles. Log 16, Ethics and Brain Science. Dr. Tromos' brain specimens are donated by terminal patients and kept alive in a nutrient-rich gel. We offer them life. They allow us to learn from them. Dr. Dene. Dr. Chalmers is quite aware of the existing ban on testing the swapper device between crew members and is seeking to circumnavigate it by testing on people who cannot complain. The doctor is practicing consensual slavery. Dr. Chalmers responds here. It seems like this log would be between a third party listening to these two different people talking. I'm practicing the prolonging of life for a good cause. You'd make the same choice in their situation. You don't know enough about the device to make any such claim. None of your theories account for the empirical evidence. Some of them break the laws of the conservation of energy. Yet, with no answer, no amount of physical explanations can you communicate to me what it is like to see red, to feel pain, to be afraid of death. Why, if all we are is nuts and bolts, we may as well consider the computer alive. Your account is missing the magic, when the cards are down, mine is simply easier to believe. And see, I guess they're keeping the logs to one page, so you can't scroll down. Yeah, this seems like this. It was either a conversation back and forth between two people that got logged, or somebody was just writing down what two people were saying. Are we safe? Has the other mind changed again? Interesting. So, either the head caused the other mind, the other character, to change, or it just happened and they got lucky. The Watchers got lucky. Although I don't know if I really believe that the Watchers are actively the ones that killed the crew, or if the crew even kind of existed in the first place. Well, and we're back into a transport.
Extrapolating from your behavior thus far, I can only conclude that you're hopelessly deranged. Very well. Head towards control. I'll see if I can't come up with some common ground.
And I guess this is the other thing. So I was over here. I fell down. It didn't seem like there was too much probably to see in that room otherwise, but I should have looked around more. So we have a teleporter, and then that only goes that direction. It's been a long time since we've seen or used any of these. Are we going home? It definitely seems to me like the game is telling a narrative with the Watchers in the order that you run into them. I question how much these gravity plates are going to really play a role in the puzzles, though. They could change a few things, but that's about it.
I had hoped to reason with you, but trusting others to see sense is how we ended up like this. No, I won't ask you to examine the evidence and pick a side, only that you act in your own self-interest. I am going to land this station on the planet below. Unless you detach the solar panels first, Theseus will be destroyed.
So we now see that was just a big elevator, and now she has just told us she's going to land at the space station on the planet, which is probably an inaccurate description of what she's planning on doing. She's probably more crashing it into the planet. So we have a rock here that says, does it understand yet? Then we can see that there's a gravity plate up there. I do not believe so. And I guess the main thing they wanted you to see is just that big black planet in the background. But boy, would it make more sense if that was just a better animated thing with like some color into it. Now we're back to more of these plant-like creatures, elements. Wow, and the whole map has just rotated. Why would the map rotate like that? It's certainly an interesting idea for a Metroidvania to think that the whole map and gravity could rotate, and then you would run through the entire map, not only upside down, but at a 90 degree or negative 90 degree angle.
Now, you're looking for 3 solar maintenance modules. There should be one for each of the major control installations. I'm headed back to command. Have the panel detached by the time I get there.
Okay. And so I guess we're just jumping. And all of a sudden the gravity seems a lot less constricting in this case too. So honestly, I probably shouldn't even be jumping upward. I should just be pushing for yep. They want to checkpoint me here. And then I want to do this. And then do that to get some safety. Okay. And there's like a terminal here, but I'm not quite able to jump to reach it. Although we could do this, but it doesn't seem like you can actually interact with that or activate it, so there we go. And we have an upside down map. If anything, I would guess that the real solution to this is something like that to get the log. Yeah. Control crew bulletin, Watcher sample 01, important operational information. Watcher sample 01 was recently relocated to the Mine Science Laboratory. Access via the command deck is strictly limited to the senior personnel. Control facilities and crew should be unaffected by the specimen's proximity. However, we understand concerns have been raised and seek to address these now. Sample 01 is colloquially referred to as the head watcher in virtue of its unique physical appearance, and at present the research team has no robust explanation for it. Current theories are focused on the possibility of an extinct humanoid species native to Quai 5, which may have carved the features onto the rock tens of thousands of years ago. While it is true that tests so far have indicated that Sample 01 plays a different role in the Watcher hierarchy compared to the smaller specimens, claims that it possesses greater intelligence or otherwise possesses a threat remain unsubstantiated. Okay. Asteroid excavation. Guess we go. And I guess this whole map is just going to be sideways like this. It's an interesting twist. But I definitely have some concerns around just the fact that there's not really a new gameplay mechanic seemingly showing up here. So I could teleport back, and I assume if I were to teleport back, I guess that's an interesting question. If we teleport back this way, it is just going to center you correctly. And the information there is the same as far as the rocks go. I was wondering, perhaps, if you stand in the blue light, do you get another shot at making I wonder if there would be a way to crouch down. No. There's a way to jump up, certainly. You could get to about that point. But as soon as you have to step off. Interesting, you do seem to get kind of an angled shot here. If you slow time down, and that has been an aspect I really haven't worked on. So maybe there is a point if you're in the middle here, and this is one of the puzzles I just didn't solve. And when you drop a body, it doesn't block the light in any way. I guess the question would come down to, is there possibly a different way in which to use the cube? Since you can't pick it up and throw it, you're limited there. Okay. Could put something here. And I could move things back. And then possibly just constantly crush things. But I don't know what that benefits. Is there possibly a reason to only cover half of the blue light up? And see, now I'm just doing an old puzzle in the hopes that I might figure something out, but really, I'm not going to. Like, I could... Maybe it's something as simple as you just need a super narrow beam. Is there possibly a solution around that? You start this, and that might slowly give you a narrow enough beam that you could put let's see, if you put a body right in that narrow beam as that was coming down, and then maybe, but then, yeah, there's just no way you're going to very quickly switch it around the other way. That gets you a narrow enough beam, yes, to do that. And if there was somebody there at that time, then I could shoot that. Problem here is, how do you get the body to do that? That effectively boils down the question to this: how do I do this and this, and then only walk forward to push the square? I guess this might just be make a copy there, walk forward that way, push it all the way that way. Okay. Now what? Unless the idea would be to maybe slow down time to do that. There. We've got the edge exactly where we would want it, and it's still not good enough. It's like there just should be another object somewhere. Like, you've got that full character there. Had to jump to shoot that. Okay. Then you do that. Then we can do that. We can do that. I'll be darned. I got it, but boy did that take a lot of effort. And then I nearly died there. So yeah. That probably means the other couple of things to collect are also actually collectible. But I'm not particularly interested in running and going and doing those. I want to actually see new content. Alright. And the map all twisted back. I'm still not 100% sure. I don't believe that there's actually more a new swapper character or swapper ability that you would unlock. So we have a solar panel release. 29 more encryption orbs are required to access the solar panel controls. Wow. So we just have a massive 66 here as far as releasing the solar panels. That's a big number. Which, if anything, I think that probably implies that there is a new area we're going to here to where we're going to have to just collect all the possible orbs in the game, and that is the end game section. Okay. I gotta be careful here because I can't use up all of my bodies. There we go. This says no entry, which that sounds like a prime place to go investigate. Solar panel release. 11 more encryption orbs needed for that. So if anything, it seems almost like we're going backwards, where we would have to get this one released first. And seeing 68 does make me suspect that there are potentially 68 or slightly more than 68 in the whole game, and you will have to get them all, at least to get what one I assume is what called the good ending. Here we have another teleporter. Of course, with that we've created a weird situation.
We took the Watchers from their home. We pushed them. They fought back. Return them to the planet. End the fight. Oh, hell, you don't know the first thing about that device she's brandishing so nonchalantly. Why am I even bothering? I feel like I should have probably found a secondary
secret log at this point. Oh, I came in through here, so I thought I was going to fall for a lot further of a distance than I did.
We took the Watchers from their home. We pushed them. They fought back. Return them to the planet. End the fight. Oh, hell, you don't know the first thing about that device she's brandishing so nonchalantly. Why am I even bothering?
Her voice sounded a little robotic in that. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to indicate that maybe she's a little robotic, or if it's just a distortion they put on the radio. I kind of wish that the whole game you had this high level of low gravity. I guess that's a wrong way to say that, but so that you would jump as high as you are in this room as in most of the puzzles. I do inherently think, though, this game is... At one point they were planning on only downloading maps when you went to these locations where there's a billboard, and then they decided to just add auto mapping to the game. Arguably auto mapping is not necessary. Arguably there's too many teleporters even in this game, but I wouldn't go quite as far as to say too many. I would just say there happens to be a lot of areas not really necessary to return to. Seems like you probably would have had to have collected all, if not all, most of the orbs in the first areas to get to this point. Yep. And it does kind of also seem like there is just going to be some other areas. It's just very weird to believe that there would somehow be even 11 more orbs in how much of this space that we've seen. Like, there could be a whole area here full of a lot of orb puzzles, but I wouldn't really believe that. The head hears me and I hear it. We sing together, all of us, to remind us of the great chain before. I guess we have a short teleporter that we'll use. There's also a way in which this could, I guess, be upside down. So where does this put us?
People don't like to hear that the soul is merely an array of chemical signals, that what it's like to be you is just the byproduct of a very powerful computer. I say that if you explain a magic trick by reference to magic, you've not explained a damn thing.
Yep. There's a danger here. This game is getting too much into philosophy. You can see we have teleported ourselves into what seems to be a broken off part of the ship. Let's jump over here. So this is called a Inigon orb. Not to be confused, I guess, with an Energon orb from Transformers. So there may just be like 10 of those. Like, that may be how that breaks down. Is that you are going to just end up with ten orbs when you collect one. Okay. So here's a question. If we make one that's upside down like this, then we walk back this way. and then we jump over this. Then the other guy is still upside down. So then we just have to walk over here out of the red light, and you can just swap. Yeah. That was seemingly easy, if too easy. Once again, your characters just kind of disappear when you get the orbs, as if they weren't really there in the first place. And yeah, we definitely know how we're going to end up with 66 orbs now, is that we're going to run into puzzles, which seems like your mileage may vary quite a bit as far as just how difficult they might be. I bet some of them are difficult and some of them aren't. Okay. So you can only make clones based on... Maybe it's not 10, it might be just 9. If I was to count here with it spinning, it's kind of hard to keep count, but it does look like it's 9 instead of 10, but close enough. Right. So you've got that one in the right place. And when your character moves, or is moved by the gravity plating, they are not affected by the other clones are not affected. But noticeably, it doesn't seem like there's anything else around here. So, like there's no square or block or switch. So it's... I mean, you could probably just go back. Nope, you have to use what's in here. So you go upside down, make a clone of yourself, shoot yourself there. Then you're up here. And then the weirdness, I guess, comes about in the fact that anything you make, you can swap to. So if I was to say make a clone here, I can't shoot and swap that to use that to flip back downward. And I can't get the light off or squeeze one in between the lights to like shoot myself as I'm falling forward like that and reach that spot. So I feel like you have to have one that is in the correct orientation, then another that's not in the correct orientation, which I guess that's not too hard, and then swap that way. There you go. says check the
Have you
navigator.
seen anyone else on board the station? No, I'm not sure either. Immaterial. You should be in a position to detach the first panel now. I shouldn't need to hurry you. I'm sure you're as eager to see your rescue team as I am.
It's very believable that the story here is that you got left behind. One crew member, or maybe someone who isn't even a crew member, maybe some weird clone amalgamation of the crew, got left behind, and you're just constantly swapping into the consciousness of another copy of yourself and losing your memory and going crazier and crazier because of it. Let's see. Yeah. This may be a cycle, and this may be hundreds of years since this whole facility has been shut down. Immediately turn upside down and start moving myself this way. Swapper research interest. Team A report. Centuries ago, the greatest minds in the world believed in life essence, some invisible magical substance that explained what was alive and what was dead. As we know, they never found it. They decided in the end that life was just functions like growth, reproduction, and respiration. People think the retro-engineered swapper device swaps souls about. I worry that if the soul, like life essence, turns out to be nothing but pixie dust, then the device is capable of acts far less benign than charmers would have them believe. Dr. Dennett. Part of the problem with just saying there's a soul, and this is a fictional world, fictional evidence, fictional reality, fictional basics in physics. But if there is a soul, then you have to ask a lot more questions and explain away a lot more questions, such as, like, why is it that brain dead humans can't communicate in some way or show brain activity still? What do you attribute souls to every living being, including single cell amoeba, or do you give it exclusively to humans? And then why is it exclusive to humans, that only humans would have souls? The whole situation gets complicated very fast, and with no kind of scientific basis behind any of the thoughts, or no scientific evidence behind any of the thoughts, you're really just opening Pandora's box. And for a video game in particular, what would your goal in a video game be? It would be to you know what I want to do? I think I just want to put a body here and swap into that. Interesting twist and interesting red herrings as far as the other sections go, and wow, we were very quickly.
When the callosum separating the two hemispheres of the brain is severed, the result is a seemingly normal yet partially divided consciousness. The eyes sometimes see what the mouth can't name. I tell you this macabre detail to suggest that the mind is not a single transferable entity. It is a complex physical machine that bides tampering poorly.
Yep, that is a thing I have seen people talk about, and I assume it is based on scientific evidence that there are some people that have damage, or in experiments they've severed the left and right hemisphere of the brain, and then you have effectively two separate entities working together. Well, working not really together as much as just doing their own thing. These Watcher rocks, as they are, don't feel like they're particularly even that interesting. Like, yes, it would be interesting if in the real world we found you found rocks that somehow could telepathically communicate with you, but then you'd have to do a lot of testing to eliminate the group delusion possibility before you do anything else, just to make sure people aren't like all having a group delusion that the rocks are talking to them when they aren't. And then you've got these beings that are either living in a higher dimension that we could very possibly struggle to understand for the rest of eternity, and that can't really interact in any way. If they had some extra abilities, that would be interesting, or if they could give us some great knowledge that we couldn't possibly know, that would be interesting. But these rocks seem to not really say too much of anything. It says something has changed, you have a new trajectory, will you rejoin the great chain? If anything, it feels like the rocks themselves may be happy to have the great chain happen and things to just go in circles and cycles forever. Seems like we might be able to actually access this area fairly soon. And we could open this, and we should check out this and just see what that does. If I had done these two orbs, I would be at 66, and the game would just be over, potentially. But it definitely seems like there's at least a couple more to collect. Just let them all fall. There's just a gravity chamber up here, which it seems like the game really doesn't want you to shoot into the gravity chamber at all. So I'd have to just assume that there probably isn't a secret thing there. If there is, I don't know how you'd get past it. And we have another solar panel release, and that wants 93. Okay, well, knowing that, then we kind of know we can't get into this final area. And so we should just do the first solar panel. It doesn't seem like you really have much of a choice otherwise. Down we go. Any of these places with the greenery could have a secret passage behind them, since it is in the foreground a little bit with all these vines. Now, arguably, there have definitely been a few places in this game where we've seen these green sections. Why not have the green have like bioluminescent plants so it looks different and glows a little bit different? Even if you move the bioluminescence like deep into these walls, or just have the green be a bright green, or even go with a bright purple color palette. A dark green on top of all the other darkness we have seen in this game is not the best color palette in my opinion. Does, like, see, you have a little bit of bioluminescence here, so why not have that tied into everywhere there's a texture for the green plants? And then the areas with the green life, at the very least, would feel like a different area of sorts. Yep. Then arguably I still would want to see this area, these more space mechanical areas that look very bony and calcified. I would like to see them. Jeez, can't even make that jump. I'd like to see it more bright white, potentially well lit. And they want to be as brutal as possible. Just make sure you kill as many people as possible, I guess. As many clones. I really don't see any way that you wouldn't have been able to move forward without releasing the first solar panel. And interesting, maybe with the release of the solar panels, we will now see the sun directly, which, yes, in space, if you were looking directly at the sun with no filter on the glass, it would, or any star, it would almost certainly blind you. I don't even know if almost needs to be said in that case. So, this is getting us to a newer area where we'll do more puzzles, obviously. I almost let this episode get away from me, and just now I've looked at the timer to see we've been going 54 minutes. You know, we're making progress, and I guess we'll go through the space area possibly a second time. Yeah, maybe with the release of each of these solar panels, the whole area would get brighter. Although, if you're eliminating the solar panels and potentially depowering the space station, I don't know why that would turn the lights on more, or turn on equipment at all at that point. If anything, it seems like you're releasing the solar panels so that the space station has to crash into the planet, and then the Watcher rocks would be back on their planet, which is probably what they want. We're at a halfway point on the scroll bar, so it probably implies to me that it's going to go further. 29 Watcher messages, 18 logs. Still have only found this messages from home. Okay. Well, the story is moving forward fairly well, but because Swapper is focused around the Swapper gimmick, which is fair enough that the game would be focused around the gimmick that it's selling itself as. This makes an odd kind of puzzle game around the Metroidvania map that doesn't really need to exist that much, compared to something like the Talos Principle, where you get into a certain area in the Talos Principle and it's fairly easy to see where the puzzles are. They're all kind of in a big open hub world, and you don't have to go through a bunch of doors just to get to the puzzle, to solve the puzzle, for not much of a reason. And since this is also puzzle based, you're not moving very fast. There's no speedy boots or hyper run or whatever it's called in Metroid. And when you look at like speed runs of Castlevania and Metroid, you will very quickly notice that the players can move very fast from one room to the other, whereas everything here is moving at a walking pace very slowly, and often through the same hub worlds multiple times. We've gone through central spokes of those hub rooms 2 or 3 times now, and it's just wasting time because there's nothing in the central area where it feels like there should be some kind of alien that you would have to shoot, even if it's just spores or something like that. The fact that we don't have any violent gun actions is a little weird too. It kind of feels like at this point in the game, since we probably are over halfway through, having some kind of enemy that you could swap into the mind of and force them to kill themselves might make some sense too, like the game Geist, which that's a game almost nobody played or remembers at least. But yeah, there's no crew in favor of this narrative they're telling, and there's too much of an emphasis, I think, at this point on the narrative instead of more puzzles, maybe slightly better puzzles, slightly easier puzzles, or just any other gameplay mechanic. Even the little lockpicking minigame to unlock each of the orb encryption places would be nice if you did have to just place the number of orbs you have in a pattern to unlock each one of those panels, or do something with them. Who knows, play checkers with them even, or tic-tac-toe would be fine. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down in the description. There's also a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wish list to support me further. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.